I'm Jess, and today I have a stylish and useful tutorial to share with you. We are going to be making a clear on-the-go bag perfect for any entertainment or sporting event. First of all, welcome to the Sallie Tomato YouTube channel. If you're new to sewing or like sewing fashion-forward projects, this is the place to be. Today I'm going to be stitching the Ruth bag pattern. This bag is sleek and trendy. You can make it out of clear vinyl, and it's perfect for a visit to a concert, stadium, or arena. This bag is made with a see-through design that fits the needs of today's entertainment events, but with the fashionable additions of contrasting accents, a zipper closure, an exterior pocket, comfortable and trendy webbing strap, and elegant finishing touches like bag feet and tassels. The Ruth bag pairs well with the Bella and Lucky Penny wallets, the Monroe card case, the Sylvia coin purse, and Deanie pouch. All of these Sallie Tomato patterns can be found on our website or your local retailer. I designed this pattern to be your new go-to bag for all events that require a clear bag without sacrificing your style. There are lots of options to customize this pattern, including an optional front pocket, tassels, bag feet, and more. Just from the fabric choices alone, you can truly customize this bag to your style or to coordinate with your favorite team to show your team spirit. We hope that this pattern will be by your side whether you're cheering on your home team or singing along to your favorite artist. The finished size of this project is 11 inches wide, 7 inches high, and 3 inches deep. Before we get started on the tutorial, be sure to grab a pattern. Click the link in the description below this video to access the pattern information. All of the supplies you need are listed on the back cover of the pattern. This project is ideal for vinyl. We recently debuted clear vinyl and exclusive printed clear vinyl, so be sure to browse our new collection of vinyl fabrics. Otherwise, this pattern can be made with cork, faux leather, micro suede, faux fur, or other non-woven fabrics. I would recommend making the base and contrasting accents from cork or faux leather. So once you decide on your fabrics, gather all of your materials and supplies and follow along with the pattern to cut out all the pieces you need. This pattern is measure and cut, plus there is one pattern piece included for the strap accents. And once you have all of your pieces cut out, let's begin. First of all, let's review the fabrics for this project. Like I mentioned, this project is ideal for clear vinyl. Otherwise, this pattern can be made with cork fabric, faux leather, micro suede, faux fur, or other non-woven fabrics. The main fabric will be used for the exterior and the side panels. I've left the paper on my clear vinyl so that way it's easy for me to see the pieces and easy for you to see as well during the tutorial. As you're cutting out your pieces, it may be helpful to label them as you cut. You can download and print the free piece labels sheet on our website and use sewing clips to hold the labels to your pieces. When working with clear vinyl, you do not want to use pins because it will leave permanent holes, so having sewing clips on hand is essential. The pattern includes the option to add an exterior zipper pocket out of an accent fabric. Your accent fabric can be exactly the same as your main fabric. Otherwise, if you're using a printed clear vinyl, it might be nice to use clear vinyl without any printing on it for the accent pocket piece. Because as you make your bag, if you have a printed accent against your printed main fabric, the designs might not line up and it's gonna look a lot cleaner if you use clear vinyl for the accent fabric for your pocket. Otherwise, if you decide to use cork fabric, faux leather, faux fur, other materials, you could certainly use clear vinyl as your accent fabric, or you could choose a contrasting or coordinating cork or faux leather to go with your main fabric. The next fabric you'll need is a contrast fabric. So there are several pieces involved with the contrast fabric. Your contrast fabric will be used for piece D, which will be the top accent along the top edge of your bag. There are two base pieces that you'll need to cut, an exterior base and an interior base. You'll need to cut two strap connectors, which are pieces G. There is one pattern piece included in the pattern, which is needed to cut piece H, and these are your strap accents. If you're adding a front pocket, then you'll want to cut piece I for the pocket accent. Also for the pocket, you'll need to cut two zipper tabs for piece J. In this pattern, for the top zipper closure, I've included instructions for adding a fabric tab to finish off the end of your zipper. And if you decide to add a fabric tab, you will need to cut one additional piece J for a total of 3 pieces J if you're making the optional pocket. If you're not doing the pocket, you'll only need 1 piece J. If you're not adding on the fabric tab to your top zipper closure and you're using a metal zipper tab, then you can skip over that part of the instructions. If for either the top zipper closure or the pocket on the exterior, you decide to use a tassel zipper pull and you want to add a tassel to each zipper, then you'll need 2 pieces K for the tassels. Otherwise, if you're using regular zipper pulls and you want to add a tassel onto your bag using Tassel Cap hardware that clips down with a swivel hook, then you can cut this piece for your project. In addition to your fabrics, you will need some webbing that measures 1.5 inches wide. Printed webbing is such a fun option to add to your handmade projects to elevate the look of your bag. There are so many unique designs available on our website, and we also have solids to coordinate with our zippers by the yard for a really professional look. The webbing that I'm using is our multicolor half square triangle webbing. You will also need a single slide zipper for this project. And if you're adding the optional front accent pocket, then you'll need a second additional zipper. Like I mentioned before, you can use regular zipper pulls, or you could use Tassel Cap zipper pulls and add tassels, which is a fun way to add additional pops of color and texture to your project. The zippers that I'm using are Sallie Tomato zippers by the yard. These zippers have a nylon coil with a metallic finish, so you can cut and sew directly through the zipper coil without having to worry about breaking a needle or wrecking your scissors. We like to call these zippers faux metal zippers because they look like metal, but they are not. The coils come in a variety of colors to coordinate with your purse hardware. So I've already went ahead and added a zipper pull onto each length of zipper tape that is needed for this project and cut the length that I needed. If you need help getting the zipper pulls onto the zipper tape, we have lots of video tutorials on our YouTube channel to guide you through the process. Next, let's talk about the hardware. To make it more easy to shop, we've put together an 1.5 inch wide webbing strap hardware kit with the essential hardware that you need for this project. So first, to go over the essential hardware, you will need 2 1/2 inch wide D-rings, 2 3/4 inch wide swivel hooks, 2 1.5 inch wide rectangle rings, and 1.5 inch slider buckle. For this project, you will also need either Chicago screws or rivets. If you're a beginner with either of these types of hardware, I definitely recommend using the Chicago screws. For either hardware, you will need a rotary punch to help you punch the holes through the layers of your fabrics. And with the Chicago screws, they simply get screwed in place, whereas with the rivets, you will need some setting tools. You can use either hand setting tools or a rivet press. A benefit of using rivets is that they look great from both sides, whereas the Chicago screws, you will see the notches for the screwdriver. Next, there is some optional hardware for this project. First of all, you can use some purse feet to help elevate your bag and keep it clean and add some bling to your project. Each of the purse feet come with a washer for installation. Another piece of optional hardware is a zipper end cap. By using this hardware, it's super easy to finish off the top closure of your zipper tape, so that way the raw end has a nice finished look. If you're a beginner bag maker, I definitely recommend trying out this hardware versus trying to add a fabric tab. And the last piece of optional hardware is a tassel cap. So this tassel cap has a swivel hook attached to it, so you can add a tassel to your project, and once your project is complete, you can clip the swivel hook to your bag. We do offer zipper pulls that have the tassel cap piece attached to them. So if you prefer to add the tassels directly to your zipper, perhaps you want to skip adding an additional tassel cap, but it's completely up to you how you want to customize your project. We also sell all of our hardware separately if you prefer to purchase the individual sets of pieces. Before we begin the sewing instructions, I highly recommend, if you're using clear vinyl for this project, to use a non-stick needle. I'm using size 70-11, but you could certainly use size 80-12 if you're using a thicker vinyl. So I'm going to replace my needle with the non-stick needle right away before we get started with the sewing instructions. And I've already went ahead and attached a Teflon foot to my machine. A Teflon foot is essential if you're sewing with clear vinyl or faux leather for your project. The first section of instructions is optional. I'm going to show you how to attach the pocket. On the wrong side of each contrast J zipper tab, mark a vertical line according to the pattern. Next, with wrong sides together, you'll align each raw end of the zipper along the marked line of one zipper tab. Use a sewing clip to hold the tabs in place, or you could use basting tape. Then over at the machine, top stitch the zipper an 1/8 inch from the raw ends. Remember that you'll want to save the remaining zipper tab for the top closure if you decided not to use a metal zipper end. Next, fold each zipper tab in half, covering the right side of the zipper. Then you'll top stitch the tabs an 1/8 inch from the raw edges. I do always recommend to trim your threads as you go and to backstitch each seam and top stitch. With right sides up, align the top edge of contrast piece I, pocket accent, over accent piece C, pocket. Use sewing clips to hold the fabrics together, and I have the paper side underneath so that way when I'm sewing, my clear vinyl doesn't stick to my machine. Then top stitch an 1/8 inch from the lower edge of the pocket accent. Next, consider which direction you want your zipper to open. I'm right-handed, so I've positioned my zipper to open to the right. If you're left-handed, you'll want to flip your zipper around to open towards the left. Whenever I consider positioning my zippers, I think of myself with my bag sitting in front of a table or on a countertop in front of me. Generally, that's when I access my bag. However, if you want your zipper pulls to open a different direction for when you are wearing your bag, then you'll need to consider that as well. It all depends on which shoulder you carry your crossbody bag or which hand you hold your bag in. So that's why my general rule of thumb whenever I consider zipper direction is the use of the bag when it is sitting on a counter or a table in front of me. Once you position your zipper as is comfortable to you, have your zipper and accented pocket right sides up and center the long top edge of the accent pocket over the lower half of the zipper tape with tabs. There should be about 1/8 of an inch of zipper tape visible between the zipper teeth and the pocket. You can secure the layers with basting tape or sewing clips. Also, at this point, I'm going to tear the paper off of my clear vinyl so that way I don't add any additional thickness between my fabric layers and the zipper. Then top stitch an 1/8 inch from the accented pocket top edge using a zipper foot or a Teflon foot. And once you get to the zipper, you can stop with your needle down and zip the zipper out of the way, then continue sewing. I've already went ahead and marked the placement for the zipper pocket on one of my main fabric, piece A, exterior pieces. When using the clear vinyl, it was really helpful to mark on the paper side since any marking tools would just rub away from the clear vinyl itself. If you're using cork fabric, faux leather, or other non-woven materials, you'll want to use chalk or a removable pen since you're marking on the right side of your fabric. After marking, center the unsewn edge of the zipper pocket, right sides together with the marked main fabric exterior piece. You'll want the unsewn edge along the marked line and make sure that the accented pocket is towards the top. For this step, I like to use a low tack tape to hold the zipper in place, such as washi tape. Then sew the zipper in place with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure to backstitch for reinforcement. Again, once you get to the zipper, you can stop with your needle down, lift up your presser foot, and move the zipper pull out of the way. After sewing, carefully remove any tape and paper. Next, fold the pocket down so it aligns according to the pattern. The pocket is easier to align with the zipper closed. Use washi tape or magnets such as Sew Tight to help hold the layers together. Then top stitch an 1/8 inch from the bottom and up the side edges. Stitching across the bottom first, then up the sides will help prevent any shifting. After sewing, remove the tape and trim the thread. The next section of instructions is to install the optional bag feet. If you'd like to install bag feet on your contrast piece E for your exterior base, you'll measure according to the pattern and mark 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. At each intersecting mark, you'll install a bag foot. We have step-by-step instructions available on our YouTube channel for tips and tricks on installing bag feet. Next, we'll prepare the zipper closure. I'll first explain how to add a fabric tab, then I'll explain how to add a metal zipper end. If you're adding a fabric zipper tab, you will follow similar steps as before when I explained the optional zipper pocket. With wrong sides together, align the closed raw end of the top zipper along the center of one contrast piece J zipper tab. You'll top stitch the zipper an 1/8 inch from the raw end, then fold the tab over the zipper, then fold the tab in half covering the right side of zipper and top stitch an 1/8 inch from each edge. I'm going to be installing a metal zipper end. For this, I will simply fold the closed raw end of the zipper in thirds, then insert the raw end into the hardware. You can certainly add some glue before inserting the raw end into the hardware for extra reinforcement. Then you'll simply screw the zipper end in place. I love this hardware because it's so easy to install and it looks super professional. Next, we're going to prepare the open end of the zipper. So start by separating the open end of the zipper teeth, and with wrong sides together, fold each end of the zipper at a 90-degree angle away from the center and stitch in place. If you struggle with this technique, I encourage you to visit our YouTube channel for video tutorials and tips on creating 90-degree zipper ends. My favorite method of creating the 90-degree ends is to take a lighter after folding and carefully warm and start to melt the zipper tape. Let it cool for a few seconds, and then I just pinch the fabric edges together to help hold it in place. At this point, I would say you don't even need to stitch it because this is considered the basting stitching by just fusing the fabric to itself. To prevent your fingers from getting burnt, you could certainly use some thermal thimbles or fold a press cloth or another piece of fabric over the zipper before fusing the zipper fabric together. It's helpful to add a sewing clip right at the 90-degree angle corner over the coil to help hold that bulky area in place. However, I do prefer to stitch it even after melting the ends, just to make sure the fold is secure. Make sure that the zipper is open completely. With wrong side down, position one side of the zipper along the top raw edge of one contrast piece D top accent, so the coil extends past the raw edge, and the point of the folded end of the zipper should be spaced according to the pattern. Use sewing clips to hold the layers together. Then flip the zipper and top accent over to face right sides up. Make sure about 1/8 of an inch of the zipper tape is visible between the teeth and the raw edge of top accent, and adjust if needed. Beginning at the short end of the top accent with the 90-degree zipper end, top stitch an 1/8 inch from the raw edge, stopping with the needle down when you get close to the opposite short end of the top accent. Then taper the end of the zipper away from the raw edge of the top accent and continue the 1/8 inch top stitching to the end of the top accent. Make sure to refer to the pattern for the measurements. Then you'll repeat the same steps to attach the remaining side of the zipper to the remaining top accent piece. Next, with right sides together, align the short edges of the top accent pieces. Make sure that the zipper is out of the way, then sew each side together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. After sewing, turn the top accent right side out and unzip the zipper completely. Set the assembled zipper closure aside for later. Now we're ready to assemble the bag. Take either main fabric piece A exterior, and I'm going to position it with the paper side down. I've selected my piece without the zipper pocket, so that way it's easier to see since I've already removed the paper from the zipper pocket panel. Then, with right sides together, center one long edge of contrast piece E exterior base along the bottom edge of your main fabric exterior piece, piece A, and align raw edges. Use sewing clips to hold the layers together. And before sewing, I like to measure and mark the distance that the seam will start and stop from the short sides of the base. Then over at the machine, we'll sew the layers together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then remove the paper, and again, sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance for reinforcement. Make sure to start and stop at the marks and also backstitch each of the seams. Then at the beginning and the end of each seam, cut a vertical line up to the last stitch, but do not cut through or past the seam. Next, fold the base away from the exterior, covering the seam allowance. Then top stitch the right side of piece E an 1/8 inch from the seam, making sure to start and stop the same distance from the short sides of piece E, just as before, referencing your pattern. Then you'll repeat the same process to attach the opposite long edge of the exterior base to the remaining exterior piece. If you decided to add purse feet, make sure that the metal prongs are out of the way as you top stitch. With right sides together, align one main fabric piece B side panel along each side edge of one exterior piece. Then sew the sides together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I have the paper side of the side panel face up, and when I go to sew, I'm going to position the paper side against my machine so it prevents the vinyl from sticking. Then you can tear the paper off. You'll repeat the same step to attach the remaining side edge of each side panel to the side edges of the opposite exterior piece. Then we'll box the corners. With right sides together, align the bottom edges of the main fabric exterior and side panels along the adjacent short edge of the exterior base. I like to finger press the seams of the side panels away from each other. Then sew together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and again with a 1/4 inch seam allowance to create the box corners. Make sure to backstitch each of these seams. Also, as you sew, if bag feet were installed, be careful not to sew over the metal feet or the washers, and watch that they don't catch on the machine. Trim the corners of the short sides, even with the seams of the long sides. Next, we'll attach the interior base. Start by applying hot glue or permanent glue to the contrast fabric side of the base seam allowances, and press down to glue the seam allowances to the base. I find it's easiest to do this step with the wrong side of the bag facing out, so then you easily have access to the seam allowances. However, if you feel that it is easier to turn the bag right side out, then glue the seam allowances in place, you're certainly welcome to do so. And if you decide to use a permanent glue such as Loctite or E6000, you may want to add some weight inside your bag, such as a few heavy books, to keep the seams flat while the glue dries. I also like to reach inside the bag to help hold the seams flat while the glue cures. Or you could even press down on the table to make sure the seam stays even and flat. I like to add a little bit of extra glue between the main fabric and the contrast to make sure the seams are as flat as possible. Next, apply hot glue or permanent glue to the wrong side of contrast piece F interior base. You can do this in sections, and with wrong sides together, center the interior base over the exterior base and press down to adhere the pieces together, covering the seam allowances and the wrong side of the optional bag feet hardware. Then turn the assembled bag right side out. Depending on the clear vinyl that you're using, you may be likely to get creases in your vinyl after turning your bag right side out, and that is totally okay. An easy way to get rid of the creases is to take a hair dryer and blow medium heat on the clear vinyl about 4 to 6 inches away from the fabric to help relax the fabric and smooth out any creases. Next, we'll attach the top zipper closure. Again, this is the time to decide which direction you want the zipper to open. Then, with the right sides out, position the zipper closure over the top edge of the assembled exterior, aligning the top raw edge of the exterior with the previous top stitching on the zipper closure. The teeth should extend above the fabric, and you'll want to center each side seam of the zipper closure over the center of each side panel. Use sewing clips or double-sided basting tape between the layers to help hold the layers together and to also help prevent shifting. Then top stitch the zipper closure 1/4 inch from the top raw edge all the way around. Then top stitch the zipper closure 1/8 inch from the lower raw edge all the way around. Make sure the side seams are pressed away from each other. I like to start on the back edge of the bag, so the back stitches are hidden on the back. Next, we'll create and attach the strap connectors. With wrong sides together, fold each contrast piece G strap connector in half lengthwise. Then top stitch 1/8 inch from each length side of both strap connectors. I've already went ahead and marked the placement for the holes on each of the strap connectors and also the top edge of the bag. Use a rotary punch to cut a small hole at each mark on both strap connectors and also at each mark along the top edge of the bag and on the side panel of the bag. It's okay to punch through the side seams since the top and the bottom raw edges of the zipper closure are stitched in place. I intentionally designed this bag so that way you wouldn't punch through the side seams of the bag, and that's why there is a side panel to allow for these strap connectors to attach. Then thread each strap connector through one D-ring and fold one strap connector over the top edge of each side panel, aligning the holes. I like to do one side at a time and then secure the strap connector in place with small rivets or Chicago screws, following the manufacturer's instructions. Next, we'll make the adjustable strap. In order to prevent the raw ends of woven webbing straps from unraveling, I recommend to melt each end of the strap by lightly touching it with a lighter. If your webbing is cotton or you're not comfortable with melting the raw ends, sew over each raw end with a wide zigzag stitch multiple times. Next, take each contrast piece H strap accent and top stitch 1/8 inch from all edges of each piece. Set the strap accent aside and thread one end of the strap over the center bar of the slider buckle. Fold the end of the strap about 1/2 inch and 1.25 inches to the underside of the strap. Then top stitch the end of the strap to itself, 1/4 inch, and 5/8 inch from the fold. With the underside face up, thread the opposite end without the buckle through a rectangle ring from the underside to the top side. Then thread the strap end back through the slider buckle. Thread the end through the remaining rectangle ring and fold about 1/2 inch and 1.25 inches to the underside just like before, and top stitch the end of the strap to itself 1/4 inch and 5/8 inch from the fold. Next, thread 1 swivel hook onto each shaped end of the strap accents. Fold to cover the flat side of the hardware, aligning the angled edges. Then align each rectangle ring to the wrong side, square end of the strap accent, and fold the shaped end over the hardware and the strap accent layers. I personally like how the shaped end looks towards the top side of the strap, but if you prefer to fold the shaped end towards the underside of the strap, you're welcome to do so. And if you plan to add rivets or Chicago screws to the strap accents, make sure to place a small scrap of contrast fabric, measurements included in the pattern, between the layers to help support the hardware. Then on the right side of each strap accent, top stitch through all layers, following the previous top stitching of the short overlapping ends. And if you'd like to install rivets or Chicago screws for extra reinforcement and style, you can do so on each strap accent. And the last section of instructions is to create any tassels that you desire, either attaching them to your zipper pulls or a tassel cap hardware piece. Visit our YouTube channel for a variety of tassel tutorials. And here is how my finished bag turned out. I truly hope that you enjoyed learning how to make this pattern, and if you have any other questions, let us know in the comments and we'll be there to help. Remember to share and show off your photos of your completed bag. We would love to see your style and what memories you've made using your Ruth bag. Use the hashtag Sallie Tomato and hashtag Ruth bag on social media so we can see it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll check out the rest of our pattern line for more creative projects. I'll see you next time.